The trick is, if it's a movie, that adventure is relatively easy to create with, like, set pieces, right? And action. So we just, our challenge will be to figure out how do we do that on stage. But I think we can. And if we can't, then this was all a mistake. In a few minutes, the seniors are going to be here, along with some of the other cast members who will be picking the play. We have 4 choices, really, kind of really 3, but really only one that I want to do. So we'll see which one they choose. I'm going to try to let them take the reins on this because it's their senior year and their last competitive one-act. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. I'm really excited. I haven't seen these kids all summer, so I'm excited to catch up with them a little bit. We've only got a couple hours because Miss Cherokee practice is in here. That's what these things are for, our local pageant. So that'll happen at 3 o'clock, but from 1 to 3, the stage is ours. More than anything this year, I just want us to have fun building this thing together that's original and ours, and it's an adventure, and we'll see it and we'll document it along the way. At some point, the kids will take over these videos, but they've got a lot on their plates right now, so I'm going to keep the introduction of all of this going, and then at some point I'll just turn it over to them because they're way more entertaining than I am. But here's, for those of you who are interested in the process from my perspective, I'll jump on occasionally and certainly here in the beginning. It was a first good read. The good news is we all agree that we're going to move forward with this play, so I don't have to go back to the other one that I wrote that is not ready to start working on. This one we can start working on. There will be significant revisions, and in fact there already is a major revision after that first table read. I decided that I had this character who was a priest who, during the writing process, wasn't going to be like a huge character, but he just became more and more important, and it kept growing. And in order to meet the needs of my cast, it would be better for my particular group if that priest were a different gender and a nun. And normally it may be a character which could go either gender, but if it's a priest, then it has to be male, and if it's a nun, it probably has to be female. So that's the direction we're going to go. So we completely switched that gender, which does require some rewriting on my part, because there are certain things that a nun can't do that a priest can do, like delivering the rites of the church and things like that. So it's going to take a little bit of rewriting. The good news is there is an actual person to base the nun on that I'm very excited about. She was a resistance fighter in Italy during World War II, in Milan, where our story is set. And I have some more research to do into her life, but I'm very excited about it. She was a Reverend Mother, and so that's what the character is now going to be. So the first read-through went really well. I'm very excited about it, mainly because I don't have to go back and fix a bad play, and because the kids were happy with Mussolini's leg, which is good because that was my first choice. So that first read-through happened on August 1st, the week before school started, and then the second read-through happened the first day that the kids came to school. We came in that evening, and I'm very happy about how that read-through went. I'm also especially happy that we had a bunch of alumni there, and one of the things that I really love about the program is that the alumni are still very involved, and I want them to be involved. We say once Chiefs Theater, always Chiefs Theater, and that's a thing that's very important to me, and I want to continue. So that was the first and second read-through. We had our first rehearsal, like actual rehearsal, where they got up on stage and got to say the words a little bit, and that was pretty exciting. But I want the approach that my actors take to be a little bit more grounded, and so we started just introducing some Meisner stuff, like taking the first thing, like you look up and name the first thing that you see, and then I'll slowly start to build in some repetition, and we'll go through the steps of activities and emotional prep and entering and things like that. So it's not like a whole real Meisner course. I don't want people to think that I'm suggesting that. What you're seeing here on the screen is really just, I put a table on the stage because there's a table in the scene. I just had them stand there and say the lines, and then sort of pay attention to who are you looking at, where are the relationships sort of developing. And I said, okay, here's the geography of this room. You've got a back window, you got a front window, here's the dining room table, here are chairs, you can move the chairs, you can move wherever you want, and feel free to do that and to move naturally. Keep saying the lines. So we just went over the same 4 pages, and then they eventually they start to move in a way where you start to see things that you can keep potentially for the show. It helps get it into their body and establish the relationships and who should I be moving towards and who should I be moving away from. And you can talk about motivations and tactics and things like that if you want in that process. And we're not there yet. It was a good rehearsal. The footage you're watching is from two guys who came on to be our videographers. I'm pretty excited about them. We're going to let them sort of document the process. They were only using their phones, though, so we'll switch to real cameras. It's just that the real cameras weren't charged, and that's on me. So anyway, that's that. That's what's going on now. Coming up, this is Sunday. I have today to sort of think about directions we want to go for the set, and then we'll start working on that next week. And I'm not making that decision alone. I'm just going to, again, present options and talk about where we think we should go, and then we'll go from there, and we'll just build it together. But it's okay. So alumni, my question is, like, reading it for the first time or hearing it for the first time, thoughts on, like, pacing, really? Is it going to be boring?
It does feel pretty slow, but I think if you have enough like visual stuff going on, then it'll be fine.
I felt the same thing, and part of it I think is just we're reading it, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
So the way we're delivering the lines is not interesting, and the relationships aren't really happening yet. So I hope that helps, but I think you're right. Like it does, like this read through felt very talky to me, which is fine. Like lots of plays are. I mean, most plays are. Thoughts, like things that would make it better, or
I would say I think the main scenes that I thought had pacing issues were the boat scenes where they are explaining the lake. But I think that's every adventure movie has to have that scene.
That like sit down of.
But if you think about Raiders of the Lost Ark, they're delivering that exposition. But it's the visuals of him drawing it out and looking at the book that make it
right.
So I guess like Chandler was saying,
You have a chalkboard.
there you go.
On the boat.
Just start writing
I get,
like
yeah.
math equation.
I think
Faith in
it
math.
is okay.
What if we could do like he's saying, writing, but in shadow puppets?
I mean, that's the idea. Like if the boat, we're on a lake. It's a big lake, but maybe it's a sailboat. I don't know. But maybe the sail could become the thing that's on there.